And for those of you who don't think I get enough science into my poetry, take a deep breath. Ice. 1. Breathe deeply now. Push that diaphragm down, in through the nose, 2, 3, out through the mouth, 5, 6, feel that oxygen burn from lungs to tingling fingers where bright red blood darkens as it rebounds with new cargo, life's breath for lush burns and philodendrons. 2. Half of Earth's age ago, air and ocean would have burned, bleached, and preserved things like us. Methane, peroxide, and formaldehyde bubbled and swirled across the planet's bounds of dry land, atmosphere, and hydrosphere, and all were rife with carbon dioxide. But then something happened that lets us breathe. The one-celled life in the sea, all there was, learned to love CO2, became gluttons, making their flesh with water and carbon, throwing out free oxygen with the trash, and most of them paid for their rash neglect. Without thinking, the oxygen ate through the methane blanket, keeping Earth too warm. The temperature dropped, and the wide oceans glazed with thick ice. Glaciers scoured the land. Simple sea life slowed, gasped for air, and died. Some managed the cold and pressure and lived. A few odd forms survived eating refuse, releasing with this new fuel the fires that spawned colonies, gullets, hearts, and blood, fins that became the legs and gills, the lungs that brought life from the sea to live the land long after the world's ice skin retreated. 3. Except for the fact that we're here at all, this big picture stumble doesn't matter. No one knows, mostly guesses anyhow. It strikes me when I see labels behind sheets of ice keeping me from something good. I guess words I can't hear would tell me what? Sometimes I long for seeing what I want behind tempered glass. Safe, but out of reach. Roads out, blocked by rock slides, cracks, or sinkholes, but I've learned to trust the virtues of ice. However obscure the view, it will melt when what remains takes a deep breath and lives. And now the last poem, which I probably should have started with based on the title of it, which is Check Your Guns at the Door. In San Francisco, after Perry's black ships returned from Japan, theater people whispered about real death on stage, how no actors coddled for a year would play one last role, give all to art, and be killed before the denouement. On the road west of the Mississippi, young Occidental actors, and footnote, Occidental means Western, not Eastern. Thank you very much. On the road west of the Mississippi, young Occidental actors had their moments on stage, spent most of the time traveling, taking their scenery from one dance hall to another, bouncing on trails by day, drinking by night, hoping for gratis hay for the horses, taking turns guarding spare wheels, extra steel rims, axles, and harnesses hanging on the back, keeping cloth scenery from falling off when ropes frayed. In town, They drink with ranch hands and derelicts, hillbilly ditch diggers, clerks from the dry goods, bankers, stable boys, undertakers, and lawyers. Sometimes teachers would sit near the wall, drink tea, and hope for talk about the plays, to ask if they ever did Shakespeare, Richard III, Henry V, Hamlet. The two actresses sat in the hotel lobby knowing to steer clear of the saloon. Alone at night in their cups, they talk about who'd risk playing the villain. They'd roll dice, cut cards, or throw darts to see who'd have to be the dastardly devil, who'd run the risk of being shot by some outraged simpleton still carrying a derringer after checking his Colt at the door. They never heard of anyone who'd been shot, but they knew someone would be the first. They talk about Big Nose George, the robber who joined the James gang, shot a deputy, got caught, confessed, and was lynched, finding no refuge in honesty but lasting fame. His skull, a doorstop for the territory's first lady doctor. His skin tanned and turned into two-tone saddle shoes by another surgeon who became third governor of the state of Wyoming and wore his big nose shoes to his inauguration. They knew that among such people, the racks of holsters and gun belts were small comfort at best. On their knees, they prayed to be panned in the papers. Thank you. Yes, go ahead.
A slew of phenomenal books are over here, so you should check it out. And really, you should wear that crown. One more time, give it up for Wade. And let's go!
Actually, occidental means not on purpose.
No.
I knew there was
I thought the same thing.
Now, there is a recording of this, and it will be available at chaoticarts.org/thecafe, and it will also be available as podcasts. Now, I didn't know if this was actually getting anywhere with podcasts, so I asked John, hey, can you check it out in the records and see if it had any hits? So we happened to check, I think, on the Kathleen Channemeyer week, so just see what it's been for the past week. He's like, oh, it's something like 500 hits. I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah, but I think a lot of them are spammers. So I think all the genuine hits are probably like 100 people. So it's like 100 people a week are checking these things out. So please, if you ever want to see these videos, including the Wade Allen Jones performance, which will be up in a couple of days, and I'll let you on, everybody on the cafe list know, you can always check it out online through iTunes or anything else. Once again, thank you so much, Wade Allen Jones.
all right.